Today, it's ChillPoint. We're at home, so you don't have to. Wait, no, you should stay at home as well. Hey, everybody.
All right.
Hello,
Nice.
welcome to Hot Point. I should have closed my other window. The sun's starting to come in. Now I feel like a goofball.
I mean, you have that option right now if you
I
want.
can just get up and leave.
Yeah.
It's a bold new time. Well, I'll be right back.
In solidarity, I too will get up and leave.
In solidarity, I will open this window. I don't know what to do in solidarity. Well, how's it going, everybody? It's just me. And today it's another chill point. Because we're talking about video game news, but it's this week actually is not just going to be a chill point. That's because let me just turn on my mic a little bit here. Hey, that's better.
All right.
It's not just a chill point. Because we think we've got it worked out where we will be able to do a full checkpoint.
Yeah, Graham's come up with a plan that involves like a green screen and like a collapsible green screen, and it sounds very cool.
So that's not gonna happen. Unlike a usual sort of checkpoint stream thing, that's not going to happen live on here. What we're going to do, because it'll have to be probably recorded in two pieces and then kind of put together. So
Yeah.
we'll be actually recording that after this episode of Checkpoint or of
Graham's the
ChillPoint.
man with the plan.
Yeah.
And then hopefully that will go up this evening or tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And so you folks at home right now have I guess a preview of what that episode of Checkpoint will be about.
Yeah.
And also things that it won't be about. So if you want to, to bet your friends about what the upcoming episode of Checkpoint will be, then maybe you can win some money.
A very popular betting service that Checkpoint has become.
Don't
Yeah.
use physical distancing as a way to grift your friends.
So we actually thought, so of course the checkpoint that is going to be coming later is mostly written already. There's a couple of little things that we're going to tweak and things in terms of the intro and stuff, but the actual stories are actually already written. And so we thought it would be fun to do kind of a table read, if you will, of the of this week's episode of Checkpoint, which will be up later, with Beige and Kathleen. Although I believe Beige will be playing the part of Graham for the purposes of this table read.
I think so. Yes. I'm going to read one of the stories that I wrote. The only story that I wrote. There's a peek behind the curtain, everybody.
Baxter.
Sometimes we all can't
Here's
write
another
all the
peek
stories
behind
we
the
do.
curtain. Baxter is very distressed.
Oh.
Okay, so like we've been home more, and he is more whiny and anxious about love than ever.
The cats are like, I hate it when you leave, but I'm not thrilled about you being here all the time.
Don't you have places to be? I got shit to get up to.
Yeah. So let's talk, or let's go through the stories that we selected for the actual episode of Checkpoint, and then we can talk about other stuff as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would like to go first? Do we want to rock, paper, scissors this?
Okay, hold on. Baxter. One sec.
Yep.
Should we just do it in the order that it's in the document here? Or?
Sure.
Sure. Hey,
Quite literally, mine is at the top, I think, so I will just read first.
Come here. Sit. He just needs love.
Oh, that
So
sounds familiar.
yeah, he's whiny and sad, and I'm making him sit on my lap, and he's like, "I hate this." Purr.
Cat, yeah.
What are you
Cat.
doing to me?
Oh,
No.
I feel like cats are not big on the whole social
ah,
distancing thing.
No.
they're not big on any kind of distancing.
Do you see the butthole cut for cats?
No, I haven't yet.
It's a hell of a thing.
Do you know that I've been home all day and I have no free time to do anything that I want to do anymore?
I know now.
Yeah, no, haven't seen anything. During the day, I look after Penelope, and at night, I try to work. So,
It's like a 90-second trailer.
no.
It's clearly somebody's gag.
Oh, thank God. I thought somebody actually did the whole movie with buttholes.
Nah. All right. I'll start.
All right.
I hope I'm properly framed because I can't see. All I can see is the script now. So here we go.
You look good.
Thanks. I bet you never expected to hear from Pong again. Sure, you had a great time at the bar with Pong, plugging it full of quarters while you got drunker and drunker on Singapore slings, talking shit about Breakout, eventually taking it back to your place, giving it a taste of your RF modulator and smashing square balls all night long. But the next morning, though, you realized that while Pong was a great one-night stand, it didn't have any real staying power, so you grabbed a copy of Final Fantasy 10 years later and realized it was all you ever needed in a game. Well, Atari figured that shit out, and now Pong is an RPG like it was always meant to be. You play as a barely anthropomorphized Pong paddle, dressed up in cute outfits, wandering through a playscape finding treasure and encountering enemies, whom you fight by playing chess. No, I'm just kidding, you play Pong. The enemies appear to have different effects on the ball too, like shotgun multi-ball or high-gravity bounce effects. And the dungeons are even based on old Atari games that none of us have thought of in years. And then my entire script disappeared as I was scrolling. There we go. The takeaway here is Pong's had a glow up, got a creative writing diploma, and is knocking on your door looking for another shot. Dare you enter their dungeon?
Nice.
Sorry, Beej. Baxter started scremming. He screm. He screm. So I had to mute my mic, and I just like put my headphones down, and somehow I put them down right on the keyboard, and they were heavy enough to press the enter key. And when I came back after opening the door, there were 16 pages of blank space. So I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And so I was like trying to delete as fast as possible, but I had to be careful because I didn't want to delete the story as you were reading it, but I didn't get that time.
That was an amazing effect. If I get to the end of my story, I'm like, oh, my story's gone.
So this story came out yesterday.
Yeah.
And this was like the ultimate like double take of like, oh wow, there's a Pong RPG. There's a Pong RPG happening. That's so weird and cool. Oh wait, it's April Fool's. How dumb. All right. I guess it's not a thing. Wait, no. Wait, it's actually a thing? Apparently it is actually a thing.
It's getting released for $15. Like I'm like, I find it hard to say no to that kind of money. That's gonna be $20 Canadian. I'm like, that's pretty good.
It actually does look kind of decent.
Yeah.
Kind of fun.
Hey, here's something. Did anybody see any April Fool's gags yesterday? I sure didn't.
I saw like one or two things, but very light-handed.
Most of the April Fool gags that I had seen go by were things where it's like, this is true. And everyone's like, what? This is true? And they're like, nah, just kidding, April Fools. See how we lied to you as a news service and then you just believed us because we've been doing that all fucking year? Like one of the ones was, oh, did you hear that Nintendo's going to re-release all of their old forgotten classics like Mario is Missing and Mario's Time Machine and like that? They're going to make a thing that's like a small collection of here's all of our old stuff, like old edutainment titles and stuff. And then it was going to be called something like New Super Mario Brothers Kingdom Battle plus Bowser's Minions something. And I'm like, no, it's not. This is I got to that point, I'm like, I can believe Nintendo deciding to put all of like their old stuff they made as like, here's a little cool thing we're going to make available for you guys because, you know, nobody knows what we're doing. We're kind of being a little unpredictable. So you know. But now it's not that, and I'm just like, don't. April Fool's gags are bad when people are just lying to you about what's happening. April Fool's gags are good when it's things like we did the Homeland set review in North 100. That was like an invested take on we're going to talk about Homelands, which is
Yeah,
definitely not any good.
I definitely like the sort of using it as an opportunity to do something dumb that you wouldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah,
I think that's a good use of April Fool's fooling. But the yeah, obviously the just doing silly things or just doing things that are just like yes, we would call it the internet lie day,
yeah.
where it's just like oh that's it kind of cool, oh it's April Fool's, oh this is kind of oh. But luckily people seem to have been kind of soft pedaled the thing this year, which is just as well.
Well, ain't nobody got time for an April Fool's.
Yeah, put some goddamn effort into your WayForward actually announced a new game that they had made in 2013 as an April Fool's Day joke. They made a trailer for a game, a Cat Girl Without Salad. And it's
Okay.
like it's every game mashed together into one. It's like a shooter, but it's got like rhythm elements and a bunch of other things. And they said this is a fake game, or this is a game we're making. Haha, not really. And then later on, like a few years later, they're like, actually, we made it for PC. And now they announced on April Fool's Day they're bringing it to the Switch, which apparently is also not an April Fool's thing, but it's related to an old April Fool's joke. And I'm like, that's fine. Do that shit.
Yeah, I think a lot. Like there was like the patch notes in Blizzard and WoW. They apparently took out bells from the game because some raccoon ran away with. Like that stuff is fine.
Yes.
Like that's. But a lot of people, because I was terrified that this year I'd be like April Fool's coronavirus. It's like die. Not actually, but just like come on, man.
There was
Leave-
there was a
leave the
story about at
world.
least like one or two people who did that, but I don't think it
Yeah.
got very far.
All right, so I read one of mine. You're next.
Yeah. Okay. Where are they? They're not all pushed together. Nintendo isn't the only company with a hotly anticipated game. Whoops. Sorry. Let me try that again. I just need to move it up so it's closer to the webcam. Nintendo isn't the only company with a hotly anticipated game ready to take the edge of being at home. Ready to take the edge. There's a typo there. This isn't my story. Nintendo isn't the only company with a hotly anticipated game that's ready to take the edge off being at home and feeling bad about not being as productive as usual, even though that's a completely understandable thing to be happening. So Square Enix really wanted to make sure people could get their hands on the Final Fantasy VII Remake on time and made the decision to ship the game to Europe and Australia early to hopefully arrive in line with the worldwide April 10th release date. So, of course, it arrived early, and people in Australia are already streaming it and making YouTube videos of it, which prompted Square to ask people lucky enough to have an early crack at the game to please keep it offline so as to avoid spoilers. Hold on. This game is 23 years old, and while I understand that there are plenty of folks who haven't played it, Graham is streaming it on our Twitch channel right now, and even he's discovering new stuff, but what? Spoilers. Square? What did you change? Does Eris live this time? Could we get Barrett in a dress? Do Red 13 and Vincent finally kiss? Because I've got some fan art I commissioned in high school and... Hello, I'm reading this for the first time.
That's good. Cold reads. Awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea that Australia actually got it early, so they can laugh at everybody else's video game importing.
Yeah, although, what do you mean? But like, yeah, seriously, what the hell do you mean spoilers? Come on, like, the game's old enough to drink everywhere.
I mean, yeah, maybe they changed stuff. Who knows? Although I'm pretty sure they're not going to. The errors part isn't in because that's like later in the game. I think it would be past where they where the cutoff is.
Oh, it's gonna be chapter 2.
I guess. I don't know.
Okay. I
It's
guess
gonna
you had to have an entire disc to get to know her first before they can kill her off.
Yeah. It's a tough. That's going to be a tough marketing thing for Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Buy Chapter 2. See the death of your favorite character. Or maybe,
Yay.
maybe your, I guess probably, maybe not your favorite character. Maybe somebody else will die.
I hope that what happens
It's random.
is that then when part 2 comes out and you leave because you've left Midgar by that point, I guess, that you go into part 2 and you go out into the world and you do whatever you have to do, but then when you go back to Midgar, it's like, please insert disc for part 1, and you have to like go back to part 1.
Please
playing.
Please go to Steam and download part 1.
Yes, so you can go back into Midgar because that's where we put all the assets for it. So, all right, my next one. I didn't write this one either. You want to win $1 million from Epic Games, but you huff ass at Fortnite? All you got to do is prove that someone's out to get them. See, okay, Epic owns a video chat app called House Party, which it acquired in June 2019. Surprising no one, House Party has seen a big uptick in use since. But surprising Epic, House Party also saw a big uptick of rumors that it was unsecure, that accounts were easily compromised, and that Chinese megacorporation Tencent was using it for surveillance. For Epic's part, they say the app is absolutely secure, it has never been compromised, they don't sell any data to third parties, Tencent doesn't hold a controlling stake in Epic and doesn't get to control what goes in their apps, and most importantly, Epic has truly no idea where these rumors started, from who, or why. To the extent that they believe it is a coordinated smear campaign by a commercial competitor and are offering $1 million bounty for proof. Again, still probably easier than learning how to play professional level Fortnite.
What a wild story.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's just bizarre.
It blew my mind. I was like, they're like, we don't know why any of this is happening. I'll give $1 million to the person who can tell me why. Like, at that point, if I was spreading the rumor, I might be like, maybe shit, I'll collect on this, like.
Yes, I did.
I think that's how they're figuring out who's going to spread the rumor. It's just like, I know who spread the rumor. Hee Good.
I feel like also if your issue, like if your concern is that this House Party app is, being spied upon by Tencent or the Chinese government or whatever, them reassuring you that they're not selling your stuff to third parties isn't really that reassuring. Because like when Tencent is involved, basically nobody is a third party. Because Tencent owns everybody.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Like once Tencent has your info, everybody has it. Essentially, it's a first-party transaction to anybody else.
I mean, Zoom has all our info now because we're using them to do these calls.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, here, okay, Zoom, you've got our sensitive internal shit posting. You've seen me being harassed by my cat so many times. Monetize that, I guess.
Put that shit in my profile. That Kathleen likes cats.
Yeah.
Speaking of Zoom, they did a post, like, I think this morning or last night, being like, a sort of a blog post, being like, to address these concerns about security. And basically their take was that the term end-to-end encryption they were using in a different way than what people thought they were using it for, in the sense they were using it in the way that it is not end-to-end encrypted, but that a lot of encryption is done. So, there's been a lot of encryption. But it's not actually end-to-end encrypted because you can't, there's various reasons why you can't do that. Which is actually, like, it's a legitimate thing in that it's understandable that it's not end-to-end encrypted. They just shouldn't have advertised that as a feature.
Absolutely.
Naria says Baxter underscore LRR when he can learn how to type. He's 7 though, so that's middle aged in cat years. So I'm not sure he's going to be able to pick up new skills at this point.
He's kind of decided that maybe this whole social media thing's moved past him.
I think he's really doubling down on his like natural aptitude at screaming and putting fur on my pillow.
He's waiting to get his TikTok account established first and just do it all in video.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've been clamoring for a Baxter vlog for years, and now I'm still clamoring, says GCU. Of course, I still love you. You know what? That might be... The Maricat has just gifted a sub to Baxter YouTube. Thank you, Maricat. I know we read subs at the end, but I thought that was very funny.
I feel like it's appropriately misspelling YouTube. Look, it's Baxter. He doesn't know how to spell YouTube.
Meh.
He's mashing it with his keys.
He's got very big paws. It's got like no fine motor skill whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we could do a vlog of just Baxter screaming at us as a joke. He's so fluffy and cuddly. For a couple days, he's like, man, you know where the best place for me to sleep is going to be? Is literally on your pillow. And I'm like, oh, my allergies. Christ. Oh, God.
On your pillow while you're actually sleeping there
while
as well?
I'm sleeping. Yeah. Boy, you ever woken up 10 times in the night to use an asthma inhaler?
I have not.
No.
That sounds like hell.
You don't sleep well, I tell you what. Anyhow, he stopped doing that. He only did it for like 3 days.
He's like, oh my God, I'm killing her.
Yeah.
Or I don't like this. I don't like the sound of that psh, psh thing that she does there 10 times a night.
Yeah.
He's keeping me up.
Luckily, I'm fine. I laundered my bedding. That solved a lot of the problem.
Awesome.
But Christ.
One of my friends, when I was a kid, one of my friends had this really nice old dog that was super friendly and everything. And you go for a sleepover over there, and the dog had a bad habit of wanting to not just like sleep near you, but actually like basically flop down on your face. Like you sort of wake up and go,
oh God. Damn.
It's like, I want to feel your breath. Feel it slowly go away.
Oh, darn. I'm not logged into Twitch. GCU. I don't have an albuterol. I have a salbutamol, which I believe is like the generic version. But yeah, I had a horrible sleep that night. Nightmares. Anyhow.
Were they like cat-related nightmares?
No, just weird ones because I woke up multiple times to inhale steroids. Anyhow, let's read our last story.
All right.
Last story.
Yeah. GameStop has had a weird couple of weeks, but then we all have. GameStop's weird times really got rolling into the lead up to March 20th, the same day that Doom released, which I understand to be a real banger of a first-person shooter, and it's well worth your money. And Animal Crossing, of course, which is the wholesome, soothing balm to what has become of our lives. Basically, GameStop knew that they had a big payday coming their way, and they weren't going to let something like advice from medical professionals or care for their employees' well-being or a goddamn global pandemic stop them from staying open. Famously, they even determined that, as purveyors of entertainment, they were an essential service and instructed store managers that, in the event that the police showed up and tried to close their stores for public safety, managers should present the authorities with a copy of the GameStop internal memo that said, no, it's fine. We've decided we can stay open. Thank you, Mr. the Police. It got so bad that the state of Pennsylvania even threatened GameStop with fines if they stayed open. And of course, when GameStop ignored that threat, Pennsylvania just took away their business license. So then they closed. And now that March 20th is over and they've actually closed their stores for real, they're also permanently closing over 300 of their almost 6,000 stores to de-densify. A few weeks ago, we reported that former Nintendo of America President Reggie Fils-Aimé would be joining GameStop's board to help whip the company into shape, even tweeting, "The game industry needs a healthy and vibrant GameStop." And now Reggie doesn't actually start until later in April, and we assume Now, Reggie doesn't start until later in April, and we assume it's going to look like that gif from Community with Donald Glover showing up and finding everything on fire, which, for Reggie's sake, we hope is immediately followed by the gif of Homer phasing into a hedge.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, if this had been 6 months later, probably wouldn't have been that much of an issue. GameStop might have gone away closed down by itself. Like, there were already a bunch of stories about how beleaguered GameStop was.
Yeah.
And so the idea of them, like, fighting to stay open is kind of odd.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, what we learned from the Reggie joining GameStop's board story is that Reggie's job on Reggie's committee that he's going to be in charge of on the board is corporate governance. It's nothing to do with like marketing or retail sales or any of those other kind of things. It's basically to do with making sure that the company itself has governance plans in place and to make sure that they're following through on those things and doing all the things you're supposed to do in order to be like a responsible company. So I don't know if he's going to actually have any effect at all on anything that goes on there other than in that one aspect.
I need Reggie to just like come in to the GameStop boardroom and be like, okay, we should have governance.
Yeah.
And they'll all be like,
Apparently,
interesting idea.
Apparently, according to people, that there's that whole like GameStop didn't actually get their licenses pulled. Apparently, that's just like was rumors.
Was a threat by the Pennsylvania governor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've certainly been enjoying the plethora of community-minded developers and different people who have and different game companies that have been either steeply discounting or giving away stuff. There's been a couple of I think GOG did it, and a bunch of stuff on itch.io where game developers have been doing sort of the social distancing sales. I mean, like, you can't go outside. Here, play this.
Like the problem is there's just an overwhelming plethora of stuff, and it's really like everybody's like, yes, now with all this free time, you can read all these books, you can learn how to knit, you can become a champion baker, you can finally catch up on all those video games that you've been planning to beat, and you can clean your house top to bottom, live your best life, take up yoga, structure your day into 10-minute increments, master the Pomodoro productivity technique, learn how to make actual like spaghetti sauce from scratch, or you can sit on your couch and do nothing because you can't focus on fucking anything, and I think that's okay too.
But yeah, of course, for Loading Ready Run and the most of us here, things have not gotten a lot less busy.
No,
in some cases, they've gotten more busy.
Yeah, I mean, we're uniquely
in a different
structured
way,
in a way that we can do this.
I will say there's an interesting aspect of this, because I was watching this thing about all, was talking about all the all the late night shows have gone to doing sort of stuff from home. Seth Meyers and Colbert and everybody are doing various versions of sort of like their monologues from home, and this particular thing was talking about how bad they are. Basically, like, it's funny to see them trying to be YouTubers.
Yeah.
It turns out they don't know how to do what we do as well as we do.
I had a theory about that we talked about last night where I had said that what probably happened was because I think Kathleen, it was either you or Graham who made the point that all the broadcast technicians that work at a network are all union.
Mm-hmm.
And so I bet you what happens is like, okay, well, I guess we just keep doing the show from home, all the producers say. So, hey, broadcast techs, go into their homes, and then broadcast techs like, my job is not to go into somebody's house and to set them up to do this work because I don't want to get sick. I shouldn't be crossing into somebody else's house
So
And
like,
let me finish my
go
theory
ahead,
here.
go ahead.
And then what happened was everyone and the producers were like, well, fine, we don't need the techs anyway. You guys go home, get yourself a phone. We have meetings like this all the time, and then we'll just broadcast that, right? We'll do whatever's on your laptop. And after a couple of weeks of that, the producers turned around and were like, everyone's making fun of us. Hey, broadcast techs, we'll pay you to help them get set up. You just don't have to go into their homes. And the techs were like, thank you. That's what we wanted in the first place.
It's because, yeah, I mean, that's actually something that I have found as somebody who does a lot of the tech work for Loading Ready Run, is that I can think of all sorts of cool ways of doing remote videos.
Yeah.
And remote connections, and trying to run having everybody in their own house and stuff. The problem is there's a big difference between I can set up some cool remote solutions, and I now have to explain and get somebody else to set up that remote solution at their house because I can't go there, right? That's the problem that you run into, is it's like setting up a cool remote solution is not necessarily that hard, or there's all sorts of ideas for how to do it. But when I can't actually go somewhere and go to the person's house to set it up, that becomes way more complicated.
Yeah.
It's like trying to set up I sort of set up a template for home streaming for everybody, so that people, so that when people are streaming from home, their streams would look similar to the standard Loading Ready Run style. And I sent that to people, but there's a lot of configuration that they still have to do on their home computer because everyone has different microphones and different computers and different cameras, and that's something that I just can't help them with.
Yeah. My thought is that there's probably a lot of people who know how to like set up for a studio and like run cable and use the professional studio equipment they have. But there's probably very few people, if zero people, outside of maybe a couple people who might work in like marketing, or perhaps just some people who do YouTube on the side, who work at that organization, who know how to actually put together a good home stream and what that equipment looks like. Right. And so there's probably a lot of like people who could set up and rig an entire theater, and they're like, I don't know what the best mic that plugs into your phone is or what adapters you need. This is outside my area of expertise. And it's true. And it is. Right. So I think there's been like a huge learning curve for people. Whereas YouTubers, like if you've watched any of the Bon Appetit at home things, they did a whole thing where it's like they were on a big Zoom call and they had all their producers there, and they were like showing them how to, they were showing all of the hosts how to like plug their microphone into their phones, because YouTubers are used to sort of working with this level of bodge equipment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doing it more themselves.
But I mean, yeah, but the idea of sort of making fun of Colbert or Seth Meyers or whoever because they don't have that set up and don't know how to set that stuff up seems kind of, it's like that's not their job, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I hope over this is one of these things where it's like, obviously things we're hoping to steadily improve things, just as we do for most of our streaming, right? We try to. And so, we're going to be trying to do the real CheckPoint today.
We should definitely finish the ChillPoint part of the CheckPoint, though, and read our other stories.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm just enjoying chatting.
Yes.
Thanks for the tips. That whole like business license thing was taken away, or was not actually probably real. Chat, I have highlighted that, and I will mention it to Graham before we actually do the recording here. But let's talk about some of the other things that's going on.
So Activision has actually been in the process of a lawsuit with AM General for the last 3 years. And AM General is the company that makes Humvees. And the lawsuit is because they didn't license the image of a Humvee in their games when Humvees are, you know, in the game as things you can drive.
Yeah.
And what's kind of interesting is Activision's argument, which has been upheld, is that this is actually like a First Amendment case, in the sense that you can't, in order to accurately depict military campaigns in a video game, you have to show the things that people actually are using, and that's that's these Humvees.
Yeah, it's a sense of artistic expression being like the literal decision has the sentence from the judge: if realism is an artistic goal, then the presence of modern warfare games of vehicles employed by actual militaries undoubtedly furthers that goal. So that's the idea: is realism the artistic goal here? But then what's the implication of being able to say, hey, we can use the design of your vehicle for free?
I kind of want the AM General lawyers to come back with like just a bunch of like gameplay videos of Call of Duty, being like, really, realism is the goal.
Yeah. It made me to me it was kind of like looking at it in the one way, it's like the reason, if you want to be kind of shitty about it, and I'd said this last night, it's like if AM General objects to the fact that a game that is about modern warfare includes their modern war vehicle, maybe they shouldn't be making modern war vehicles. Which is a facetious statement, obviously. But then Graham had said last night, the twist on this is, what is this going to mean for other games where realism is the goal? And in the comments, in fact, somebody even pointed out racing games.
Well, or sports games.
Yeah. Or even modern shooty mans that rely upon real weaponry, where you have to license the weaponry from the company that makes it. Like, that's kind of become a thing now. So it's like, what does all that mean? Actually, when you start thinking about that,
because racing games license their cars, and sports games license the stuff from the teams. But they are trying to depict a real, you know, their accuracy and realism is part of their design thing. So wouldn't just having those teams be in it already be part of? I mean,
yeah,
it's a tricky question.
It's
a dangerous precedent.
This is something that's definitely going to have to go to appeals, because it'll be like, they'll appeal it, no kidding. But if they go to appeals, it'll be like, the implication is that what will that mean for all these companies that have to license all this to begin with? Because if I'm EA and I'm looking at this right now, I'm like, if I can get away with making all the sports games I make without having to license anything anymore, then I'm gonna fucking do it.
I feel like there's no way that's gonna go. I mean, if there's anybody who has, you know, EA level of money, it's like MLB and the NFL and various things like that.
Yeah, it's like, so do you take them to court, and then what do you argue? Because if you're setting a thing up and saying like, here, we're not going to pay for the Players Association licensing all the players' names in, it's like, now how bad do you look like the asshole at that point? Do you look like the asshole at that point? Does it actually matter? The NFL is a shitty organization. The Players Association would not be, but the NFL itself is a pretty bad organization. What happens when the NFL and EA go head to head?
Or, I mean, there's the thing, of course, that for a long time, the Olympics has a real tight copyright reign on you know the logo of the Olympics,
yes,
like the circles and stuff, and it's always like the Winter Games or the Summer Games or whatever, right?
Yeah, and it's the if you take the side that it's like, if you see something in real life and you're trying to show that this thing is a realistic, this artwork you're making is realistic, and this thing exists in real life, so it should be part of the thing. It's like, okay, I think that's a laudable thing, but that's going to create an amazing amount of havoc, because the game industry did not move in that way. You know, now there could be a complete rediscovery if this actually ends up being like law set as a precedent. And somebody had mentioned in the chat, this hasn't gone all the way to the Supreme Court yet, so it would probably have to get that far first before you can really say, okay, this is the final word on this. Who knows what that's going to mean?
Yeah.
So this isn't over, I think, is the takeaway.
All right. Let's because I guess Animal Crossing is the new Fortnite in terms of we have to talk about it every week.
God, it sure is, isn't it? I like it better than Fortnite though, because I don't understand Fortnite because I'm old.
There's a great story about there's a limited number for those of you who don't know stuff. There's a limited number of villagers that you can have on your island.
It's like 12 maximum, I think.
10, I think.
And you don't necessarily have complete control over who moves to your island. That's correct, right?
You do get to okay, when you start the game, if you want to get anywhere, you kind of have to accept the first 3 that show up, and if somebody or the first 3 that you meet, but you could just choose not to. You just take you longer to get going with the game. And the first time you build a campsite and somebody comes to your campsite to stay over and you talk to them, if you talk to them, you're basically locked into having to accept them as a villager. If you choose not to talk to them at all, apparently you can wait a few days, they'll leave, and somebody else will come in.
Maybe he'll leave. Let's just
Yeah, essentially.
So, but that's basically the situation here is that sometimes, for whatever reason, you get stuck with a villager you don't want. The last pick in the team or villager or whatever. In this story, the person has apparently this Polygon writer has a hate on for Gwen the Penguin, apparently. But in any case, people are attempting or have been experimenting with different ways of attempting to encourage their person to leave, including continually bumping into them, putting signs like beside them that say like "Go away." Smacking them with a net, not talking to them ever. Apparently, none of these things actually work in terms of like from a gameplay mechanic, but they're just.
Thank God.
But I think they're more cathartic.
I have definitely smacked Bam with a net a couple of times, and I immediately feel bad because he's such a precious idiot.
Was the smacking with the net was accidental?
Yes, because I had a net out because I was shaking trees.
The time-honored thing of the like attack button and the talk button are the same button, and so you'd be like, "Oh, hey, there's a guy I want to talk to." Boom! Oh dear.
Heather and I had an axe fight.
Apparently, according to T. Stoughton, ignoring a villager most of the time will encourage them to leave because you're just not friends with them.
So ghosting is what they're suggesting. That's the way to do it. He just is like.
My understanding is if you want someone to move into your village, you have to have like a plot set up for them to be able to do that. Because if you go meet a villager on like a mystery island, and you're like, I want that one to move in, but you don't have a plot ready for them to move into, I don't even think you can ask them to move to the island. You
can't.
Yeah.
The villagers won't show up on a mystery island if you don't have a plot available.
Yeah. So you kind of have to do that bit too. So.
Yeah, of course. So, if you're watching this and you're an Animal Crossing villager, and you don't want you like everybody on your island, maybe you're the one that they're trying to get but nobody's talking to you.
Holy crap, Paul. Wow.
Bam is always being like, "Hey, Kathleen, check out this stuff I found," and I'm like, "I love you." Never leave. And Sherb watered my plants for me last night, and I was like, "Oh."
Sandy's been doing that for me.
Oh.
It's so great. Carmen is a lot, by the way.
She is an extra bunny, isn't she?
Yeah. Oh shit, she's on. I walked into her house and it was incredibly loud, and I talked to her and she's like, "I play my tunes at max volume all the time," and I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Until the neighbors tell me to turn it down," but it's like you're listening to the like blink 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 blink, but it's incredibly loud, and I'm like, "Oh god, what is your music?"
You just like go. It's like, okay. This is a very small island. Please turn your music down.
All right. Next story.
Animal Crossing.
There'll be more.
Yeah, Later Daters came out, which is a dating sim where you're in an old folks' home.
Yeah, I'm
I was
kind of
gonna
sad.
play that on Now Kiss, but
I know this would have been great for Now Kiss.
well, I mean, I can
It's-
still play it when Now Kiss returns.
Yeah.
It's like it's like Dream Daddy except it's old people instead.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's Canadian too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was this is definitely on my list of games to play for Now Kiss, but because I was working on Road Quest, I gave my Now Kiss I gave the Now Kiss time slot to watch and play. So now we got to find a new slot for it on the schedule. But I'm going to be honest with you, it's not at this point. It can't the game. I can't do Now Kiss until I'm not working from home because I don't have time in the day to do it. So
Breaking news.
yeah, Now Kiss will return at some point.
And what's kind of neat about this, like, there's of course you're just sort of it's like, oh, you're dating old people, that's different. But what I like about it, what they're talking about, is that part of that is that you're dating people who have had lives, full lives. So many of them have lost. Apparently, like some of them have, lost spouses in the past that might have like grown up children.
Yeah, grandchildren.
Like I feel like that creates a very interesting dynamic in a dating game.
Also, I think as some people get older as well, sex drives drop off. So there's also the sense that you might not be people in this game that might not be DTF, right? They might be more down to garden.
ETG.
Yeah.
They might just be looking for companionship.
Yeah, that's very
which is
important.
I think that's what most older people are looking for.
And I mean, also when you're in, health problems are going to become manifest. And it sounds like there's definitely, from the way they put it in the article, that they're saying like, there's probably some darker timelines, and not like in terms of like, I murdered 3 men in Reno kind of dark, but more like, I'm stage 3 with like this form of cancer, and like eventually it's going to take my life, and I have like maybe like 5 years, 10 years left to live kind of deal, right? So
apparently Rockpusher says anecdata suggests the rest home crowd are thirsty AF beige.
Oh no, I don't doubt that there's a lot of people who still really want to fuck. But
wow, apparently STDs are rampant in old folks' homes? Huh.
Wild.
I mean, what do you need to use a condom for? Who's getting pregnant?
That's true, right? I guess that must be their way of thinking.
You've only got so much longer left to live. You're already taking 18 pills a day for your various ailments. Just throw a chlamydia one on top. You won't even notice.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the ratio of men to women starts getting a little different then too, obviously.
Oh, right, because women tend to live longer.
Yeah. As mentioned in the lower thing there, Jedi Academy has just come out for console, or not just, but recently came out for PS4 and Switch, and it's apparently a pretty decent port. People are liking it, especially for such an old game. The problem that people are running into is that the servers that run the console multiplayer and the PC multiplayer are the same servers. Now, they're not supposed to be able to, like, they don't show up in each other's matchmaking systems. But apparently, if you know the address of the server, you can, if you're on PC, you can just connect into the console server.
Oh.
So what's
not air gapped in any way.
So what's happening is that PC players who, one, have had the game for whatever 10 years, and it's a fairly technically it can be quite a technical game from a multiplayer capability. There's it's rewards a lot of
complicated maneuvers.
High level play. So these are people who have had the game since 2003, and also they're playing on PC. Like, this is a first person / third person shooter, so they're playing on PC with a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
And they're basically just totally creaming and destroying everybody on consoles.
Yeah, no kidding.
And so apparently they're working on say was this. We are absolutely thrilled and appreciative of the support our fan community has given to last week's launch of Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy on PS4 and Nintendo Switch. We are aware of a current bug that allows multiplayer across PC and console, and as with every game we work on, we are committed to delivering a great gaming experience for players, which includes a fair playing field for all. A remedy for this loophole is now in the works. So the whole there's like the controversy that Sony has been very unreceptive to crossplay. Apparently, this is a situation where crossplay is not wanted.
Yeah.
Or as Ars Technica put it, Jedi Academy dev promises to fix mistakes. It lets PC gamers slaughter console players. What an evocative headline.
Yeah, I just imagine like a console player, buying the game, logging on for the first time, and just dropping in, and a bunch of PC people be like, "You came to the wrong neighborhood, Switch boy."
In other sort of, so somebody who's like, hey, when we were talking about like, you can fool your friends, and somebody's like, well, sports betting is done, right? Because there's no professional sports being played, but the sports are adapting, and in fact, the NBA is organizing a tournament where NBA players are going to have an NBA 2K tournament. And it's going to be like Kevin Durant is going to play. He's going to face off against Derek Jones Jr. They've sort of figured out like a bracket with like 16 players who know how to, use NBA 2K, and they're going to do like a video game tournament basically. It's going to be airing this Friday on ESPN. So if you want to bet on sports, the esports are on the cons. The back on. Emily says, what about single sports? Tennis should be exploding in popularity about now. No, because then two sweaty people who are breathing hard are still handling the same ball.
Yeah, there's still even in singles or one-on-one sports, there's still a lot of other people that are part of the infrastructure to get the sport. If you actually want to do like live matches. Now, do they have to play as themselves?
I feel like they would anyhow. I don't think you'd have to force a professional basketball player to pretend to be themselves.
There'd be like this weird point of pride, right? Because if it's like, I have to play as myself, because if I start playing as like the Golden State Warriors from 2 years ago or whatever, everyone's going to kind of give me some shit about it. So I have to play as my own team. Otherwise... And maybe that's even a thing, right? Like there might be because I mean,
maybe you want to play as somebody who's better at 3-pointers than you are,
right? Like that's the thing. It's like it's not just Kevin Durant playing all 16 things in the bracket by himself. Everybody, there's a lot of people playing here.
Yeah,
so
like Trae Young and Harrison Barnes and other people who I really honestly have no clue who they are because I don't watch basketball.
And it makes me wonder if teams that are part of this bracket, if it's like you're gonna have to play as your own team, and I don't know if everybody's on a different team who's a part of this bracket, and if they are all on different teams and they're all signed up to be playing as part of their team, are all of them going to be the superstars of their team that happen to be good at basketball, or are they going to be like, we're going to let the guy who like rides the bench, we're going to have him play because he's actually way better at 2K20 than the rest of us. It's going to be like his shining moments.
Yeah.
We only drafted him because he's really good in the simulation.
Or I don't know enough about the NBA to know if like Devin Booker and Zach LaVine are high profile. Like obviously everybody knows who Kevin Durant is because Little B cursed him. But
that's your frame of reference. I love this.
Yeah, but
Durant's a
But-
former MVP. Like
Yeah, no,
he's
like obviously
good.
everybody but everybody knows who Kevin Durant is. But like I'm not sure if this is like really popular players or just like Kevin Durant because you got to get eyeballs on the screen, and then all of these people who are like, look, I'm legit good at this basketball game. Can I please volunteer? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like the guy who normally just like manages the towels or whatever is like, this is my time to shine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is this? Domantas Sabonis is like, bring me off the bench, coach. I finally got something for the team. I truly don't know who these people are. So like, I apologize if I'm making fun of like superstar NBA players.
I mean, they're people like anyone else. But yeah, I don't know who any of them are either, other than a few. I mean, like normally the slam dunk champion, like Derek Jones Jr. won the slam dunk championship in 2020, is what it says. But I'm like, a lot of times there have been slam dunk champions who just aren't the best player on the team. They're just somebody who can actually execute a really good dunk.
Yeah.
Right? They're a good player at NBA level. You have to be good at playing basketball, but it's like, but they're not like the premier person. They just happen to do a really good dunk. Anyway.
And actually, sort of somewhat related to what we were talking about before with home setups being can sometimes be difficult to do. So obviously, E3 got canceled. That happened a while ago, and various companies are doing they're doing streaming things instead. And Bethesda has announced now that they are actually not going to do that either, because, and it's the thing where it's like they canceled the E3 show and they're like, we'll do streaming instead, but it's like it's not just that they canceled the E3 show and so we have to do streaming. The reason they canceled the E3 show is because of the virus, and it's really hard to plan and set up a massive multimedia streaming experience when nobody can actually physically interact with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, where do we do it? How do we set it up? Does just one person have to set up the entire thing? How do we switch to different things and demo it, right? So it's not, you can't just like switch over to doing it digitally.
And maybe the thing is like the sense of doing a spectacle reveal, maybe that's going to be kind of unnecessary at this point too, right? Like maybe you just need to find a different way to get that news out there.
I mean, Nintendo got their mini direct out there.
Yeah.
They
People
just
did suspect that it was a mini
But-
because they had to pull back on some news. Who knows if that's true or not, but they did get it out and it was 25 minutes long. Like,
and to some
Yeah.
extent, but it's like to some extent, Nintendo was already kind of set up for doing directs. I mean,
Yeah.
they had to probably adapt their system, but if somebody isn't already set up, you can't hire anybody because nobody is working.
yeah, you hopefully like maybe you can go through the group of people that you work with and be like, I'm going to need some video editors and some people to develop motion graphics, and we're going to need a couple people in marketing who have very good voices to do the voiceover stuff. We're going to have to coordinate getting clips from people to put into this thing. We're going to have to we still have to have people make trailers, and then we have to build the trailers into the event. And it's like, yeah, that's probably a lot of coordination they weren't expecting to have to do.
And then and then totally apart. Well, and then also, of course, it's not just that people are quarantined. Some people might actually be sick.
Yeah.
And not working actually at all because they are sick.
Yeah.
Whoa, I'm just looking at chat. Apparently Sony announced that The Last of Us 2 is just delayed indefinitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. There's various companies. I know we did the story last week actually that talking about Ubisoft, that they're talking about that they have so many different studios. Like there's about there's got to be like 6 or 7 Ubisoft studios around the world. They're they're sort of so geographically separated that they can kind of mitigate a lot of the as places are going into lockdown, they can cut down the stuff there and sort of move some of the workloads around and stuff. but there's a lot of places that can't do that in the same way, I can imagine. And obviously, I mean, you can't. There's. I was reading an interesting article about people working the whole like, oh, you can work from home if you've got like a high tech job, but it's like, no, people like, if you work at a video game company or all this stuff, your home computer isn't like a massive rendering workstation, right? So either people are like taking their computers home, which doesn't really work, or there's stuff about like editors working from home, but like but studios don't want to allow footage to leave their
Yeah.
premises because
Yeah.
it's going to be leaked and stuff.
If you live in a place like New York and you're doing your job is to do a lot of video editing or to do a lot of that other kind of work, it's like you might not even live in an apartment that's big enough to have all that stuff in it in the first place. Like, it's like, what if you live in like a bachelor suite and it's like every part of my apartment is kind of seen to? I have a laptop I work on at home and that's it. I can't bring a rendering workstation home. I can't like sit in my house and do all this work. I have to remote in, but even that's going to suck.
And there's certain situations where you can remote in, but if you're, an editor or doing color correction
Oh
or
yeah.
doing anything like we do some remote work in Loading Ready Run, and you can do it, but it's not like, especially something like editing. Like if you're doing something that's relatively low in text based or something like that, it's not too bad. But anything that's like you're required that you need like full motion video, it's not pleasant.
Yeah. Well, and remoting into a computer, I don't know if there's a workaround with it. Typically, you don't get sound when you're remoting into a computer.
I mean,
Right?
there's ways to do that,
Yeah.
but you're still gonna like there's all sorts of problems in terms of whether the problem quality you're seeing is whether the quality you're seeing is a problem with your original video or with the stream or with whatever. It's just
Yeah, it's not really like video editing is not something you can do remotely, to be completely honest with you.
I mean, I think there are packages, and probably our development has been accelerating lately on packages that try to mitigate it in some ways. Using sort of similar technology actually to video game streaming tech. But I don't know. I don't know what the current state of the art is. I mean, the nice thing about it, as opposed to video game streaming tech, is that you don't have to, they can throw a ton of money at it, more so than you can with a consumer level thing. So if whatever New Line Cinema needs their editors to be able to do their thing, they can set up a server just for that, as opposed to having to make a service that works at $10 a month or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But still, it's a tough deal.
Yeah, no, like, I mean, obviously lots of people can and have been working from home, but it's very difficult.
The last story I have here is that about Borderlands 3,
Oh, God.
which is, sounds, I haven't played it, but everyone's said it's a great game, and it's selling very, very well.
That's good.
The problem is that, so there's this thing where historically Gearbox developers have actually been paid quite a bit lower than other people in commiserate in the same industry, and that's because Gearbox is really big about profit sharing. Something about apparently 40%. Their standard thing is 40% of the profits of a game are split among the employees of the company, and 60% goes to the company itself and the CEOs and stuff, and the management people,
Huh.
or however it works.
That's kind of amazing. I didn't realize that was how they did things.
Which is great when you make Borderlands 2. Less good when you make Aliens Colonial Marines. And what happens is that apparently Randy Pitchford, the CEO of Gearbox, got everybody together a couple days ago, and and Borderlands 3, which has been massively selling, uh, he's like, the amount of money you're gonna get on the split is not as much as you might think, and maybe not as much as your managers were leading you to believe, because the game cost more to make and took longer to make than we were originally planning. And so, yeah.
Okay, all right. So this isn't them being entirely shitty, unfortunately, because it just sounded like they're like, we made a ton of money off this thing, except that we're not going to share any of that profit we made. It sounds more like they're like, what we've been doing. Turns out we spent way more money than we needed to, and yeah, what we promised you is not something we can give you back.
Yeah, how shitty this is, it depends a lot on how much benefit of the doubt you're willing to give, right?
It's true.
Like, there's a scenario here where this is just how it has to be. There's also a scenario here where, for instance, Randy Pitchford had a $14 million bonus because of how good the game was. Now, according to the thing, that came out of the 60% part. That didn't come out of the 40% that's supposed to go to employees.
Right.
That came out of the 60% that goes to management and stuff. But still, it does not look good.
No. Don't pay yourself a bonus and tell everybody else that it's like the money we promised you is just not going to be there. It's like, and then you pay yourself $12 million, $14 million.
So
that's egregious.
Also, apparently, part of the agreement with their with the distributor, I forget who's 2K is it distributing it, was that they started 2K is distributing it, is that like they had to sort of pay off a bunch of money had to come in before it was considered, even before any money actually was coming to Gearbox as profit.
Right.
They had to sort of do a bunch of paying off a bunch of stuff. So
I mean, they had to change engines halfway through development. Apparently, they went from Unreal 3 to Unreal 4.
Yeah, there were definite delays.
Yeah.
And so, but again, this is after there's been the last couple of Gearbox games have not gone well, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's been a couple of Gearbox games recently that have not gone well, and then Borderlands 3 came out, and it's like, woo, it's great. Party time! Apparently, when Borderlands 2 did so well, people, like employees, were like buying houses and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, now they've said that it's like, okay, the bonuses are going to be lower now, but this is now like it's going to keep coming over the next while, as the game continues to sell.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also, as people in the chat are saying, Randy Pitchford hasn't necessarily earned himself a lot of, either he hasn't earned himself a lot of goodwill or has squandered the goodwill he has had in various ways.
Yeah.
In rather bizarre ways involving his hobby of magic and card tricks.
This might be one of those things where the employees say, hey, you know what I would rather have is a actual reliable salary and good working conditions, as opposed to betting the farm on windfall bonuses.
Yeah, and to the extent the actual, there's actually like a quote from Pitchford, basically going like, if you don't like it, you can leave. Which is...
Wow.
That might be what happens. So great.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I forget where...
Well, that'll be what happens to their top developers.
Yeah.
Yikes. That's,
I mean,
Ashton
it's hard.
Tarek who said that in chat.
it's hard too when, I mean, because the position everyone's in kind of right now is also like, it's not like it doesn't seem like a lot of companies at this point in the world right now are saying, boy, we really need to get out there and expand and hire more people and do other things. Like if you are like, I'm unhappy with the situation, it's like, okay, well then go ahead and leave. I don't know what job you're going to jump to because I don't think hiring is happening as much as you think that it is. But if you're really good at your job, maybe companies will be like, well, I know we're all kind of in, COVID-19 lockdown, but it's probably worth picking up some more remote people. Because who's going to move at this point, right? Like, can't be that many people deciding to move still.
Yeah, I don't think that.
It's hard to manage
Gravity
when you're
Pike
in
says the
lockdown.
last company I was at that gave us, if you don't like it, you could leave. Then about 75% of my team left. Ooh.
Yeah, you don't want to pull that if you think people might actually leave.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like they're probably like, to be fair, they're probably not going to leave now because there's a lot of stuff in the air and nobody needs a job search right now.
Exactly.
But maybe in a year, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, M the Marvelous says I have done 8 interviews in the past 2 weeks. Holy shit!
I mean,
Wow.
maybe now is actually not a bad time if you're like, if I'm stuck at home and I can't do a lot of my work, maybe now is not a bad time to be like, I guess I'll polish that resume. But
Yeah. IT is booming, says Johnny Glitch. Oh yeah, my dad works in IT and he's like, I'm exhausted. I'm so busy all day because he's been just pivoting completely to helping people set up work from home. But
How to make help me make Zoom work.
it's a little bit more sophisticated than that is what my dad is doing, but like yeah, essentially. But
all right. Well, those are all the stories that I marked for this week. There.
Well, it'll be in CheckPoint, but a brief PSA. If you are playing Animal Crossing New Horizons at home right now, you've probably noticed that there's a ton of balloons coming into your game. And you're going to be popping all those balloons because you need all the crafting materials and the stuff that's coming in on them. Well, also, if you pop 300 balloons,
oh yeah,
you'll win a Nook Miles reward for that. Don't collect that reward. You can pop 300 balloons or pop like 1,000 balloons if you want, but do not collect the Nook Miles reward for popping the balloons. So be careful what ones you collect, because if you collect that, balloons will stop spawning on your island. Like, altogether.
permanently.
And they haven't fixed it yet. There hasn't been any announcement of when they're going to fix it. So if they have already fixed it, then great, but just be aware that's going on right now and look into what updates are available.
It's like, okay, you're going to see some balloons on your island.
Yeah.
You're going to want to pop those balloons. For the love of God, do not pop 300 balloons and then collect the thing. It is a trap.
Yes.
We have to warn the people.
Apparently there's an update.
And well, they're saying that they're saying that Nintendo is aware of it. There might have been a recent update. It looks like it wasn't. Dark Morford's saying it wasn't fixed in the 1.1.2 that came out this morning. So just keep an eye on what's happening with updates. Stay up to date. I'm sure they're doing what they can to fix what they need to fix.
Yeah. And if you're designing any sick loading ready run stuff in your Animal Crossing towns, and you have Able Sisters open, so you can share the actual code for the item, please add the Loading Ready Run Twitter account.
Yeah, we'll be more than happy to share that. There's already been a couple of Desert Bus t-shirts and the Loading Ready Run hoodie.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you can buy in real life if you want.
Just be aware that it's not shipping right away.
Yeah. Store.loadingreadyrun.com for all of your Loading Ready Run merch needs, but you can't get anything yet because our fulfillment center currently isn't able to fulfill orders thanks to all of this.
I wasn't sure that. By the way, just that reminds me. This in the script, there's a line in one of the stories this week that says, "Gestures."
Wildly at everything.
Gestures broadly at the state of the world. I wasn't sure whether that was like a stage direction or whether you were supposed to say that, but I kind of liked the way how you went with it.
I thought I'd try it out as a stage direction and see if it actually, because I'm not going to be the one reading it anyway, so.
Anyway, let's look at what's coming up. because at 2 o'clock, LRMTG, where James and I believe Adam are going to be playing the magical cards. And then tonight, apparently we're doing Tinker Tailor Solder Fry. Ian's
From
going to
Ian's
build
house.
Lego from his home on his computer. And this is, yeah, he says this is not Minecraft. This is actually with the Lego building program.
He wants to
Awesome.
rebuild some of the stuff that he made in the past. So it's all virtual. That way he
Oh.
can save it and he doesn't have to worry about keeping his Lego together.
Right. Ooh. And then later he can print these out and then just like have them on his wall.
Yeah.
Or 3D printed in Lego.
Oh.
And then on Friday, Graham continues with Final Fantasy VII. This is old Final Fantasy VII. We don't have the new Final Fantasy VII here in Canada yet. And even when we do, he'll be still playing the other one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll try the other one. Maybe he'll try the new one afterwards. I don't know. But
He might get through it. He might get through Midgar before it comes out.
and then on Friday night, we're going to try to do a commander night with the 4 players will be in different places with their cameras above their. So it'll be paper magic. So it will be a paper fight, but we'll see how that goes. But we've it's going to be Ben, Graham, Serge, and Olivia from.
She's a famous magic cosplayer.
Yes,
Ah.
yes.
She was at the PPR.
Right,
I
yeah,
can't
of
remember
course.
which PPR she was at, though. I can't remember which set it was. So give me a second here.
So everyone is limited to the cards that they have in their own house.
Olivia Gobert Hicks, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. People are limited to the cards they have in their own house, I suppose. So that should be it should be fun. And then on Saturday, it's another Animal Crossing bonus stream. Matt is going to take a crack at the LRR Animal Crossing Island, and Kathleen is going to be calling in to hang out with.
I'm so happy that we made the Office Island a Southern Hemisphere island.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
I
because
mean,
that changes when it's light out.
it changes the fish and bugs that are available. Also, it's just different than what all of us have at home.
Oh, okay.
So it's a bit more interesting.
Mm.
God,
So-
maybe I should call in. Not
We're-
call in. I should just stop by.
You should, just we'll get Matt to open up the Office Island, and we could all go there
Just
and
stand.
find stuff.
Oh, I see. Stop by the island in the game.
Yeah, rate it for bugs and fish, and then get the hell out.
Animal Crossing the streams, says Anarin.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the moon base is in the southern hemisphere of the moon.
Yeah.
Sure. And then on Sunday it's Rhythm Cafe, where Ian and or Heather, or some combination of the two of them, will be playing some rhythm game. I do not know what the game is going to be yet, but we'll see how that goes. On Monday, it's more Final Fantasy VII. And then it's going to be more Dice Friends, where we're going to be continuing with Kathleen, Serge, and Jacob in our Toon campaign,
Toon is fantastic.
which just went up yesterday on YouTube. If you want to check out that silly cartoon types campaign.
Yeah. It's if you're looking for a really rules light thing that you can play with other people, like online or something like that, Toon is great. It's very straightforward. It only requires 2d6, which most people are going to have in their house, or there's online dice rollers and stuff like that. And it's super easy on like the setup and stuff for your animator or your game master. So never played it before, but give it a high recommend for sort of fun role playing times.
Yeah, especially if you have a lot of you've got that nostalgia for the sort of Looney Tunes style cartoons. It's a lot of fun to sort of try to recreate that. And let's just look at Tuesday. 9 o'clock. We got Talking Sim, where Cameron and Corey are going to be looking at some games. And then Let's Know, where Ben and Adam are going to be looking at the spoopy stuff. I assume Silent Hill. But anyway,
I'm not sure if they're doing Silent Hill remotely, to be honest with you. So
keep an eye on the schedule. We're going to be doing making double checking our schedule for the next couple weeks. I think on Saturday to make sure that everything is sort of set up and we know what we're doing. Obviously, because of circumstances, gestures broadly to the world. We're not planning as far ahead as we usually do in terms, like usually we're sort of going month by month in terms of streams. Now we're kind of going like a couple weeks. So keep an eye on the schedule. loadingrayrun.com/live is the place to go. That's going to have all the schedule stuff and the Google Calendar and everything.
yeah, we're constantly figuring out how to keep everything rolling. So we're around doing the things that you are used to seeing us do. So whatever you are now doing, you can still tune into what you were used to tuning into.
And a big part of keeping everything rolling is everyone supporting us, as you have been doing, and thank you so much, through the various methods you support us. And YouTube memberships is a way. That gets you chances to submit questions for our Askler monthly podcast. Also on Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. So thank you to everybody who is donating there as well. And also on here on Twitch. And by the way, if any of you are feeling the pinch right now because you're like, oh dear, I need to scale back on that stuff. I need to have those dollars coming back into my house and not actually going out. You need to look after you. So you do that. Please do that.
I know that we are important to many people, but you're also important to us. So take care of yourselves first. You put on your own oxygen mask before you assist others, et cetera, et cetera. We'll still be here when you come back.
Like GameStop, we are an essential service, providing entertainment.
We're an inessential service, I think.
We are as essential as GameStop. How about that?
Yeah. If we could choose one, Patreon or Twitch, which would you prefer?
Whatever one is more convenient for you.
Yeah.
It really is what it comes down to.
All right. Let's welcome the people who subscribed during this stream. Starting with this person.
Oh my goodness.
It's Bronzefinger.
Well, he's got a lot of gift subs. Bronzefinger, 74 months. The cousin of Erno Goldfinger.
Chenisi 2 for 60 months. Thank you very much.
Toon Hoon is back for 14 months. Welcome back.
And hey, Soaring Dragon 42, thanks for 4 months of subscriptions.
Primark 9 for 25 months.
Mola Molifant back for 19 months as well. Thank you very much.
Hail the RNG has been here for 63 months. Thank you.
QE Gixar for 27 months. Thank you very much.
The Awesome One, version 2, has been here an entire year. Congrats and welcome back.
Even more awesome than the previous version.
Silpho has been here for 14 months. Thank you very much.
A parked car.
A parked car. A parked car. For 34 months. I figured if I say it slow enough, I could figure it out as I say it.
Sure. Wolgo for 4 months. Welcome back.
Ryban89 is a brand new subscriber. Welcome to the channel, Ryban.
Baxter YouTube.
Meow.
Meerkat, yes. Meow.
Meow.
El Cognito has been here 10 months. Welcome back.
Oh, that's me. J. Holden has been here for 3 months. Hooray! Thank you.
T and Troll Dog. No, TNT
Roll log.
TNT Roll OG for 2
2
months.
The LK for 30 months. Welcome back.
Hey, everybody, it's your friend and mine, Master 2505, who's been here for 2 years. That's almost 2 years.
Chris Lewis Rose for 8 months. Thank you very much.
Martin, actually, I think it's Martine Werters for 40 months. My apologies for messing up that last name.
Jadar 5000 has been here for 38 months.
Fortnite Animal Crossing, gifted by 3 4/5.
That's a very specific streaming account.
We only do 2 things: Fortnite and Animal Crossing.
Fortnite Animal and Crossing. Simon 40 Russell for 42 months. Welcome back. That's the nerd number.
Cuddlefish Man has been here for 38 months. That's the Cuddlefish Man number.
I Can't See Your Toes for 20 months.
Oh, hold on, actually.
Yeah, wait a second. Hey.
Wait. Who can't see toes now, chat?
Wait, still not in shot.
Oh, shoot, right. Hold on.
There we go.
So I can see the full. I can see your
This
full
person is
camera.
this
on the
person
crop.
this
You know
person
what's
is
kinda
going to have
great?
to rename their account now.
So I turned on like the Zoom video smoothing, and you can't see all the hair on my legs. This is fantastic. This is what the feature is for. Great.
When we all get cyborg guys, we can all have personal smoothing turned on, and everyone will just be like a hairy mess, but they'll look completely clean shaven. Woof.
I'll have to change their name to I saw your toes once.
Is it my turn?
I believe so.
M the Marvelous for 66 months. Welcome back.
Hey, 99 red balloons and Toon TV were gifted by the Maricat. Thank you, Maricat.
Briefly, I want you to hold up Baxter's foot.
Oh, he left.
Oh well, that's good.
7 Gorobi, Pyronalis 80, Tingly Toes, RWH R2D2. Wait, RWH R2D2.
Ah.
Let's all take a line.
Sure, yeah, go.
Go Beige.
Beige.
Oh yeah, Bynard 656, Barbarian, Angry Sloth, and Hoss Deluxe.
And Person of Blah, Heboric, Oplinger, and Sight Yoshi.
Jasoman, Lidrian, Midnight Requiem, Karilu.
Leonid 65, Noj Livik, Max Dammit, and Silenzo. All gifted by 3 4/5. Thank you. And
Wow,
welcome,
thank you
everybody.
so much. GameStop, gifted by the Maricat.
Yay. Bakery Dragon, SFN. Generic Glitter Goth, Hester Beard, and Peta. Gifted by M the Marvelous.
Thank you, Stoffern, for giving this to Stofers.
And a couple people in chat are like, oh, thank you so much for the gift sub. So, yay. You are pretty awesome. And Asphodus were gifted by the Maricat.
I think the Maricat might have collapsed onto their keyboard.
Yeah.
And for 200 bits, H-Bomb and Friends and Lord Crusher, thank you all so very much.
We got one last sub that squeaked in under the line. The Maricat gifted a sub to Hamzas, I saw your toes.
Alrighty. All right, thanks everybody for watching. 2 o'clock is going to be LRMTG, so that's a little under half an hour. But in the meantime, stay safe.
Stay inside if you can.
And
Yeah.
enjoy these ads.
Stay
Yeah.
inside, and yeah, we'll see all y'all later.
Bye.